Good morning. Today we will start with the already I have explained you regarding this unit. There are three lectures I have covered regarding this unit 3, that is network layer 1. In the last previous lecture, what we have said is services provided by the network layer that we have studied. Okay. In that one, first one was what? Advertising. Means what we have said is what, which are the services given by the network layer that we have said in the last lecture. There it will do packetizing. It will find out the address of the next hop, that is which address, physical address. Okay, and also it is used to find out the address of the next port. Which address? Logical address. These are the services provided by the network layer. Okay, that I have explained in the last lecture. So we'll start here with the next topic of this your syllabus, that is circuit switching. Okay, and it is very important. Circuit switching. In the next lecture, we will study about what? Packet switching. There are two types of switching. One is circuit switching and next is packet switching. Okay. So today's lecture we will study regarding the circuit switching. Okay. See, what is circuit switching is mean that if you want to send the data from source to destination, yeah, sender to receiver, that is source host to receiver host. If I want to send, then what I will do, I will create a dedicated part. Listen carefully, now I am explaining about the circuit switching. So it will create a dedicated path between the source and the destination, sender and the receiver. It is important point. It will create a dedicated path. If you created this path, if it will be present till the data is transmitting. Means if you want to send the data from source to receiver, first you will create a dedicated path. Dedicated means what? It is only there for to send the data unless and until if the data is present for sending, then it will be present only, and it will be terminated when data is over. Means what? If the data is present, then it is sent through the dedicated path. Okay. When the data is over, which you want to send, then that data path will be terminated by ourselves. Okay, means it is not automatically, it is terminated. The data will be sent from sender to receiver continuously through the dedicated path. It is very important for the circuit switching. Okay, and one thing, it is used in the telecommunication. What is telecommunication? In the mobile phones, what we are using is circuit switching. It is used in what? Telecommunication. Especially circuit switching is used in what? Telecommunication. Okay. So these are the two important points. What are that is, before sending the data from sender to receiver, it will create a dedicated path. Important point. Next is that it is used in the telecommunication. And one thing is that if I'm explaining you circuit switching, It doesn't mean that there is no packet switching. Okay. Both are merged only. Both are with one another only it is. It doesn't mean that if you are having, if you doing circuit switching means what? If you create a dedicated path between source and the destination, it means data is also sending. What I told you, you are prepared a dedicated path from sender to receiver. So it will send the data in which format? In the packets. In terms of packets. What is packet? Here, the message what you want to send is divided into the packets that are being sent from sender to the receiver. Okay. So, what is the advantage of this? What is, see what I told you is that we have having a dedicated path between the sender and the receiver. Okay. Dedicated path will be terminated when the data which you want to send is completed. Okay, that is first one. Second thing that if you are having dedicated path between source and the receiver, means if you are having circuit switching, means delays are less. Why delays are less? Because already path is present. You want to send the data from one to another. So there is no delay for the transmitting of the data. Okay. And there are two types of circuit switching. Okay. Now we will study about the types of circuit switching. First one is what? TDM. This is means time division multiplexing. Next is FDM. TDM, time division multiplexing. FDM, frequency division multiplexing. These are simple different formats for sending the data from in the circuit switching. So first we'll start with what? Time domain switch, which is time division multiplexing. It is simple thing. There are 3 points in the TDM. We will send the data in terms of what? Frames. Second one is it is used for the long distance. It is also called as digital circuit switched network. It is the synchronization of the switches. See, what is this meaning is that if in the TDM, time division multiplexing, it is having already a dedicated path between the source and the destination. It is first thing. It is important in the circuit switching. Next is the time division multiplexing. In this one, data is transmitted in the form of what? Frames. Means the packets which are going to send data, that is divided in terms of what? Frames. Already we have studied that. We are having 5 layers, same story is there, same thing is there. What is that? Physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, and application layer. Okay. The data which is present in this is in terms of what? Packets. When the packets are coming from to the DLL, I am dividing in terms of what? Frames. In terms of frames, I am sending the data in the time division multiplexing. Where we are using time division multiplexing? Where the source and destination are in long distance. If the distance is large, then we are using the TDM. This is the second point. And it is also called as digital circuit switched network. TDM is also called as digital circuit switched network. And for your syllabus, they have given only this much only, this little bit introduction regarding the TDM and the FDM. Actually, there is a subject in where the communication is studied, I think we studied analog communication. So studied regarding the time division multiplexing and frequency division multiplexing. That you will study. I think in the second year you studied about in the analog communication, where we are doing the time division multiplexing and frequency division multiplexing. We want to communicate between the two different source and the destination. We will do the communication through time division, yet the other was frequency division. So there is a different formulas, different patterns that we have studied in the analog communication. Okay. In this subject, in this topic for your syllabus, they have given only the introduction, like how it just in this what we want to. We don't want how the time division is done, how frequency division is done. That is not for your syllabus because it is already in the communication subject. But what we are studying now in the time division multiplexing, data will be transferred in terms of what frames. If there is a long distance, then we go for TDM. It is also called as digital circuit switch network. And one thing is that if you want to send the data, then synchronization is needed. What do you mean by synchronization? See, if I want to take a lecture, then in which speed I am explaining, in which language I am explaining, that you need to listen, that you need to understand continuously. If I'm explaining you something, means you need to grasp easily. Okay, in the same speed. If I'm talking very fastly, if I'm explaining with very less concept, I'm just jumping, I'm skipping everything, then you can't understand that topic properly. Why? Because in which speed, in which concept I'm explaining, that you are not getting properly. Means there is not synchronization between teacher and the student. If there is synchronization between student and the teacher, it means what I am explaining you that you will understand easily. That is the meaning of synchronization. If there is synchronization, then communication is easy through the TDM. So synchronization of switches is needed. Synchronization, you know what is already you are having, you want to send the data, you need router switches. So synchronization of the switches is needed. This is regarding the time division multiplexing. Next is what? Frequency division multiplexing. It is simple. Okay. It is used in the multiple data signals and here it is frequency means it comes bandwidth. Here total bandwidth is divided into series of non-overlapping frequency subbands. See, frequency division multiplexing. Okay, here multiple data signals are transmitted at a time. Means in the time division, one thing is that we are sending one by one. Data is sending one by one in terms of the frames. But in the frequency division, many signals, multiple data we are sending. Data is sent in terms of signals only. So many multiple data we are sending from source to destination at a time. But you are having in the frequency means it contains bandwidth. Okay. In the bandwidth, the total bandwidth you are sending, where the bandwidth is divided into number of into series of non-overlapping frequency subbands. Bandwidth is divided into number of what? Series of non-overlapping, which will not overlap frequency subbands. In terms of that, we are sending the data. Means total bandwidth, many signals, multiple data we are sending from source to the destination, and total bandwidth is divided into series of non-overlapping frequency subbands. Means this frequency subbands means the bandwidth I am dividing in terms of what? Subbands. That subbands should not overlap one over the other. Okay. In that format, I am sending the data from data in terms of in frequency division multiplexing. Sapna, do you have any doubts? Reply me. Did you understand? Any doubt? Sapna? Okay. So this is regarding the time division and the frequency division. That we have studied about where in the circuit switching. What are the advantages of circuit switching is that here there is a dedicated path. So guarantee is there. There is a guarantee that we are sending the data properly. There is a guarantee for sending the data from sender to receiver properly. This is the first point. Second thing that there is no delay in the circuit switching. What are the disadvantages? Disadvantage is that it will take long time to get to do the what we call it as established communication, established connection. More bandwidth is required. These are the disadvantages. See, what is the disadvantage is that of what? Circuit switching is that these are the advantages. There is a dedicated path is guaranteed between the sender and the receiver. Are you getting my point? If I want to send the data from sender and the receiver, if there is a guarantee for you that if you want to send the data from one to another, then there is no loss of the data. That is first advantage. Second is in that there is no delay if you want to send data from one to another. This is the second point. Next, what are the disadvantages is that it takes long time to go, long time to do what? Establish the connection. I told you what is that? It is having dedicated path between the source and the receiver. Sender and the receiver, it is having dedicated path. But to create this dedicated path, dedicated connection, it needs more bandwidth. That is the disadvantage of circuit switching. Third is that if you want to send the data Already you are having at the sender and the receiver the fixed data if you want to send in terms of frames. Okay, but when if you want to send another data which is not predefined, means then you can't send through the circuit switching. Okay, this is about what disadvantages. If the data is already, if you want to send, means you will send in terms of what frames only. But if any another data, if you want to send, then you can't send through the circuit switching. This is the disadvantage of the circuit switching. I think you understood. Okay, so there are how to actually in the next lecture we will study what exactly how the data is sending. Already I told you that how means we have already studied that we will create a dedicated path between the sender and the receiver. With help of this path only we will send the data. That is first important thing. We will send in terms of the data in terms of what frames. That is in time division multiplexing. In this one we don't have any delays to send the data. And there are two types, EDM and the FDM. Okay, that about that I explained you, and even advantage and disadvantage. These things we have studied in today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll start with what how little bit regarding the circuit switching I will explain. Then we'll go for the packet switching. Any doubt?